New question, the member.
Thank you very much, Speaker. And my next question this morning is for the Minister of Children and Youth Services and is regarding the adoption crisis occurring here in Ontario. Minister, as you know, across Ontario, there are approximately 8,000 children waiting for permanent homes in this province. Adoption is a provincially regulated issue and is a lifelong commitment. Minister, do you agree with the Right Honourable Governor-General David Johnston that there is an adoption crisis occurring here in our province?
Thank you. Minister of Children and Youth Services.
Good morning, Speaker, and thank you for the question. I do take my responsibilities on the adoption file very seriously. I know that the number of children who have been adopted in Ontario has continued to increase. We have less and less children waiting to be adopted. We are very focused, in particular, on children in the Aboriginal community, Speaker, who where there's perhaps more challenges on proceeding with adoptions. But working very closely with those communities to make sure things are culturally sensitive and appropriate. So my commitment is to continue to look at the issues and opportunities associated with the adoption file, and I'd be pleased to meet with the member to discuss that more fully. Thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Well, Speaker, back to the Minister. Minister, you will know that it is often easier to adopt on other continents than it is to adopt across regional boundaries here in Ontario, because each CAS office operates in a silo within their own territory. In 2009, prior to his appointment, Governor-General David Johnston led an expert panel on the adoption crisis. 5 years later, the major recommendation remains unfulfilled. Sadly, government red tape and interprovincial barriers often prevent adoptions from other parts of Canada. Minister, this is about children in our society. What can we do to work together to help resolve this crisis and ensure that waiting families are matched with children in need?
Thank you. Minister.
So again, thank you to the member for the question. And he commented on the role of the Children's Aid Societies in terms of adoptions in Ontario. And we've made tremendous progress in coordinating the efforts of adoption between the CASs. We have actually a reduction in the number of CASs in Ontario, and they are working very closely while maintaining the protocols that have been established for adoptions in Ontario. I understand his point about international versus domestic. I pursued an international adoption myself until I became pregnant with my twins. I'm very familiar with that process as compared to what we have here in Canada and in Ontario. And I think when we look at the file, there's been great progress. Is there more work to be done? Absolutely. Are there some issues associated with adoptions in Ontario? Absolutely. We'll continue to work on that. I'm happy to provide a personal briefing on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Final supplement.
Well, Speaker, back to the Minister. According to the Adoption Council of Canada, it takes up to 9 years for someone to navigate the complicated adoption process. The real adoption crisis here in Ontario is that a bloated and broken system is preventing the timely match of waiting families with children in need. Minister, the longer a young child stays in foster care, the harder it is for healthy attachment to begin. As a new father, Minister, it breaks my heart to think of children growing up without a loving home. Minister, November is National Adoption Month. What specific steps are you committed to taking over the next month to help resolve Ontario's adoption crisis?
Thank you. Minister.
Well, first of all, congratulations to the member on being as a new father or having maybe a second child. I'm not quite sure. We know there are some opportunities on the adoption file. I think it's important, though, when we use numbers around the adoption file, that we be very careful, because sometimes we're talking about averages, where we have to look at the specifics of cases. We have an adoption strategy in Ontario. Again, I'm happy to brief the member on that. And as I said, our particular focus is around the Aboriginal community and helping facilitate more appropriate adoptions in care, making sure those are culturally sensitive. And nothing is more important to me, Speaker, than the future of children in our province. And I will continue to provide the appropriate leadership on this file. I'm happy to talk to the member further. Thank you.
Thank you.